Hello all, my name is Haritha Rajeev, Assistant Professor, St. Albert's College Autonomous in the Department of Computer Science. So today I am here to explain about the topic waterfall model. The waterfall model is the first model in the SDLC. SDLC means the software development life cycle. So when you create a software, it will go through different phases. So these all activities are under different prototyping models. That means waterfall model, iterative model, V model, and etc. So first model is waterfall model. So what do you mean by a waterfall model? The name suggests that it is the behavior, same behavior shows that the waterfall process. That means all process can be happen sequentially. The waterfall model was the first process model to be introduced. So waterfall model is the first model in software development life cycle, and it is also referred to as a linear sequential life cycle model. So basically the waterfall model is a sequential life cycle model. That means every phase occurs sequentially. That means if you do a second phase, then you must do the first phase, and after that the output of first phase will act as an input in the second phase. So the all process can be occurring in a sequential manner. It is a very simple to understand and easy to use. That means waterfall model is the very easy to understand model. So because the sequential process, it must be easy to understand by the developer and also the user. In a waterfall model, each phase must be completed before the next phase can begin, and there is no overlapping in the phase. So we must do any phase in between that. It is not possible because if you do any intermediate phase, then you must complete the beginning phases sequentially. So there is no overlapping happen in between the waterfall model. The waterfall model is the earliest SDLC approach that was used for software development. So this is the earliest approach in the software development life cycle. And the waterfall model illustrates the software development process in a linear sequential flow, and this means that any phase in development process begin only if the previous phase is complete. That means if you do any steps, then you must do the beginning step and any sequential step in between that. So you must do the sequential order in the waterfall model because it is a linear sequential life cycle. So you must do the sequential order. And in this waterfall model, the phases do not overlap. So because of that, in this all phases, it cannot be any overlapping in between that. And this is the structure of waterfall model. This consists of 6 phases: requirement analysis, system design, implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance. So waterfall approach was the first SDLC model to be used widely in software engineering to ensure success of the project. In the waterfall approach, the whole process of software development is divided into separate phases. So the waterfall model consists of 6 phases. Each phase can be happen sequentially, and in each phase different activities can be happen. So entire project can be divided into different phases. So because of that, we must do the big problems in a sequential way and easy way. And in this waterfall model, typically the outcome of one phase acts as an input for next phase sequentially. That means if the output of requirement analysis will act as an input of system design, and the output of system design will act as an input of implementation phase, and the implementation phase output act as an input of next phase, that means the testing phase, and the testing phase output will act as an input of deployment phase, and the last phase maintenance phase. So the deployment phase output will act as the input of maintenance phase. So each phases can be connected. So when you do any phases, that means for example, you can do any implementation phase first. you cannot do that directly, because you must do the requirement analysis and then system design, and then will go through the implementation phase. So you must follow the sequential order in the waterfall model. So these are the 6 phases involved in the waterfall model. Requirement gathering, system design, implementation. These are the phases in the waterfall model. So first phase is requirement gathering and analysis. Requirement gathering and analysis is the first phase in the waterfall model. In this phase, the developer will fetch the requirements from the end users and also specify the requirements. There are different requirements are there by user. So fetch the requirement, and based on that requirement, developer will develop the model. So first phase is requirement gathering and analysis. All possible requirements of the system to be developed and captured in this phase and documented in a requirement specification document. So all the document can be fetched in this phase, and based on that requirement, the developer will create a document, that means SRS document, and this will happen in first phase, that means requirement gathering and analysis. Next phase is system design. System design, the requirement specification from first phase are studied in this phase, and the system design is prepared. Based on the documentation made in the requirement analysis, the developer will design the particular model. That means the developer will create a structured design based on that requirement. So based on that design, the developer will easy to develop that particular product. This system design help in specifying hardware and system requirement and help in defining the overall system architecture. In system design, the developer will also identify the system specification and hardware software specifications for doing the entire project. And when you create a system design, we will get the overall idea about the entire architecture of that particular project. And next phase is implementation phase. With input from the system design, the system is first developed in a small program called units, which are integrated in the next phase. So when you create a system, after the system design, the developer will get a clear idea of the structure of a particular system, and based on that system, the implementation phase, the developer will create the codes. So in implementation phase, the entire problem can be divided into different units. Each units can be called modules, and each modules can be done separately, and after that testing separately, and after the completion of each module can be integrated and tested integratedly. So these testings can be called as unit testing and integration testing. So in implementation phase, the designing architecture is converted into coding structure. Each code can be called as source code, and each unit is developed and tested for its functionality, which is referred to as the unit testing. Integration and testing means all unit is developed in the implementation phase are integrated into a system after testing of each unit. So after testing each unit or each modules, it will go through integration testing. Integration testing means integrate each modules and combined result will check, and if the result is yes, then the entire project will be successful, or otherwise it will made many modification based on that requirement of that particular customer. And post-integration, the entire system is tested for any fault and failures. And next phase is deployment of the system. Once the functional and non-functional testing is done, the product is deployed in the customer environment or released into the market. Once the product is developed, the developer will deploy the particular system into the market or the end user. And in that case, the end user will check the entire product, and if there are any modification done, then customer will give feedbacks. The feedbacks will be positive feedback and negative feedback. If it is negative feedback, the developer will rearrange the entire model and develop a new model based on that specification of that particular user. And the last phase is maintenance. There are small issues which comes in the client environment. To fix those issues, patches are released. Also to enhance the product, some better versions are released. So based on that requirement of that customer, the developer will maintain the product based on that changes happen in the environment. Also to enhance the product, some better versions are released and maintenance is done to deliver these changes in the customer environment. So the in the maintenance phase, the developer will maintain the entire system based on that customer requirements. And waterfall model applications, every software development is different and requires a suitable SDLC approach to be followed based on the internal and external factor. Some situations where the use of waterfall models are: first one is requirements are very well documented and clears are fixed. If the requirements are well documented, then we will suggest the waterfall model. And the next one is product definition is stable. Only we can use the waterfall model in a stable product definitions, and the technology is understood and is not dynamic, and there are no ambiguous requirements, and ample resources with required expertise are available to support product and if the project is short. So these are the conditions where use the waterfall model. And some of the advantages of waterfall models. The advantages of waterfall development are it allows for departmentalization and control. A schedule can be set with a deadline for each stages of development, and the product can be processed through the development process model phase one by one. And the development moves from concept through design, implementation, testing, installation, troubleshooting, and end up at operations and maintenance. Each phase of development proceed in strict order. So the waterfall model, it will consist of different stages. It consists of requirement gathering, analysis of design and implementation, testing and maintenance. So each stages can be strictly proceed. And these are the advantages of waterfall model. It is easy to understand and simple and easy to manage due to rigidity of the model, and each phases has specific deliverable and a review process. Phases are processed and completed at one time. So every phases can be processed and completed at one time and works well for a small project where requirements are very well understood. So the waterfall model is used when the project is small and easy to understand, and clearly defined stages and well understood milestones, and easy to arrange task and process and result are well documented. So these are the advantages of waterfall model. And waterfall model also have some disadvantages. The disadvantage of waterfall development is that it does not allow much reflection or revision. Once an application is in the testing stage, it is very difficult to go back and change something that was not well documented through upon in the concept of stage. So this means in testing phase, we can have any changes in between that. So we must not do the changes in this stage because it is a sequential process. So if you need any changes, it will go through the first step and again made changes in the sequential order. So these are the major disadvantages of waterfall model. That's no working software is produced until late during the life cycle, and high amount of risk and uncertainty, and not a good model for complex and object-oriented project. So waterfall model is not suited for a complex project and object-oriented project, and poor model for a long and ongoing project, and not suitable for the project where the requirements are at a moderate to high risk of changing. So risk analysis is not done in the waterfall model. So this is not apt for high risk based problems. So risk and uncertainty is high with this process model. So these are the main highlights of a waterfall model. So waterfall model consists of 6 stages. all stages can be done in a sequential order. This consists of different advantages and different disadvantages. So these are the main concepts involved in the waterfall model. Thank you.